What up, everybody? Welcome to the IAG Thursday thing, this thing that we do every Thursday, and we've been doing pretty good about it. I hope we don't screw it up, but we're on a, you know what? We're flawless for this year. Let's go. All right.
Hey,
We haven't missed this year yet. uh, so, 2 weeks into the year, we got kind of a banger show today. Joining us, thankfully, because he tends to be a special guest these days, but I'm pretty amped he's here. We got Warranty. Warranty, how you doing, bud? How's life? How you been?
Dewey. I'm doing great. Work is starting to get busy. I'm getting into my busy season, so doing the best I can, juggling chainsaws and the like. But I'll be happy to report that I bought a part for my car. I bought the STI shift knob after putting that off for 4 years.
Whoa!
Yeah, it's weighted. It's
Whoa!
leather. It says STI on it. It came from a Subaru dealer. Yes, yes. Very
Oh,
stoked.
calm
You should have
down.
just said something. I have an extra one sitting around my garage.
Oh, brother, but
Well,
this is like
no, hold
the
on.
BRZ one.
Yeah, the BRZ one's got the reverse logo
Okay.
on the different, like, because I'm assuming it says STI,
Yes,
but it's also got the shift
Yeah,
pattern on it, right?
I
yes.
don't know. Is it the same threads as the Gen 1 BRZ? Because I have a Gen 1 BRZ one.
Oh, it is.
Ooh,
It is.
yes, it is.
You got dirtbagged. That's what you should always ask your homies.
Oh, oh, I'm sad. Well, I'm not
You could
sad
have
about. I
also got
also
me the
bought.
part number and I could have got it for you too. But I understand supporting your local dealers and I'm cool with that too.
Yeah, I wanted to go see what Jason was up to. So,
Yeah, yeah, whatever.
also, I bought Larry Chen's book.
Oh, did
I want to
you?
call it "Unsafe at Any Speed," but it's "Life at Shutter Speed."
Yeah.
The big
Is
old coffee table book. It's huge.
is it sick though?
I haven't opened it yet, but it's got weight.
What the
I could
hell?
fend off an intruder
All
with
right,
that
so
thing.
it's a weapon. So you purchased a bludgeoning weapon
Yeah.
that Larry Chen authored.
Yes. That's right. Thanks, Larry. So
All right. We
that's
also
my
got
update.
we also got Jordan here. Jordan, how you doing, bud?
Peachy. I heard today that the Ruskies don't really like us, huh?
Yeah, so the last video you used some sort of sound file that I guess in Russia they weren't happy about. So if you were in Russia and or Belarus and you listen to this via YouTube, you are not able to see the last video, which was the or the last podcast, which was, if you need to listen to it, by the way, Warranty, the
Mm.
thingies awards was very good. It was highly entertaining. um but you will not be able to listen to the thingies awards on YouTube if you were in Russia or Belarus. So I would recommend you maybe hit up Spotify or Apple or something. There's other places you can listen to it. So,
It's just
and if you
super
are
funny because
listening,
I double checked.
if you are listening to this, and I should be saying this at the beginning of any one of our podcasts, and I do not, guys, you got to hit the subscribe, you got to hit the follow, and please do us a favor, share. Okay, we're trying to get this out there to as many people as we can, but social media algorithms beat us into the dirt. So the easiest way to do this is tell all of you guys to share it so your friends can pick it up, they can subscribe, yada yada yada. So then you don't miss any of these when we inevitably screw up and post at a weird time or forget to post, or Jordan's back falls out completely and we can't
Yeah.
edit for a couple of weeks, or there's a million different reasons. um I also want to thank Randy. Solid job on the thumbnail again. We appreciate it. I got to be real, wasn't anywhere near as good as last week. But still really good. So some stuff
So
happened. Was it Friday? Thursday? It was last Thursday. Last Thursday or last Friday that Subaru at the Tokyo Auto Salon, they'd
mhm.
been teasing over Christmas and New Year's that Subaru of Japan was teasing a STI of some sort. And they kept showing this World Rally Blue VB with an STI badge on it. And they unveiled it at Tokyo Auto Salon. And I think most of us who were in the know were pretty confident that was not the new STI. The ones that weren't in the know, which seemed to be all of the automotive press, thought that this was going to be some giant crazy reveal. We all kind of knew that's not what was going on here. What it was, so everybody is aware, was Subaru really didn't release a manual VB for the Japanese market. And then they released this. This is a manual VB with some STI goodies on it, but it's basically the same thing as our WRX TS here in the US. Okay. And a lot of people were pissed off. This ain't the new STI, yada, yada, yada. But really what it is a trim package for the Japanese only market. And they were hyping this for their market, and people lost their minds when they absolutely shouldn't have. Now, with that stated, that didn't mean there wasn't some really interesting stuff there. One thing that I thought was super cool was they had the GT300 BRZ there, and they had been running a variation of the old WRC EJ20 for a very long time. Would have actually won the championship with it last year, but had some mechanical issues that I guess that was the only reason they ended up missing out. The performance was there, but they ended up missing out. So they had that. They were showing it off there with a radically different engine. They had basically a hot V H6 in there. Hot V meaning the turbochargers, instead of them being normally on the bottom where exhaust would normally come out in a Subaru engine, they're on the top. So the heads are kind of reversed, but it seemed to be EG33 bottom end based, with some sort of custom head that the exhaust side was actually on the top and the intake side was on the bottom. So the turbos were sitting in the middle on the top, and it was radical as hell. And I'm assuming they went this route so they could add some displacement, so they can make the same amount of power with a little less stress. I can understand with those guys running the amount of time that they're running, why they would go that route. We'll see what happens. I thought that was pretty cool, but did you see that warranty?
I sure did. That's probably the coolest thing that I've seen come out of Subaru in a long time. So
it was pretty cool. I don't think it's it's Subaru funded. I guess it's STI. It does have something to do with building this, but it was that seemed to me was this race team wants to win. They looked at the rule book and went, what do we have at our disposal within the Subaru catalog that we could turn into something? And that was the easiest one. And I think, isn't that crazy?
Yes, but it's still a bespoke engine. It's a hot V setup. We're calling it a hot V, but it's not a V6.
It's bespoke heads. That bottom end is still very based on a production unit. It is bespoke heads.
Right. But that's cool, man. It's not just pulling things out of the parts bin. They spent serious money to build something just for the race car. And it's a twin turbo. Like,
I'm not saying they didn't, but even the EJ20, the old WRC based EJ20, that was a bespoke bottom end with bespoke heads. Okay,
oh, you're right.
Okay, so like I would say they're both about the same amount of distance away from production engines. It's just they went, we want to win this. We don't care what it takes. What's the route to get there? And then, if you had a blank sheet, what would you do? What's the closest to that we can mess with? EG33 is probably what they landed on. Thought it was pretty cool.
It's cool, man. Like, from a hype perspective, very cool. I think people lost their minds when they saw that in the car. So.
They did, but anybody who thinks that is going to have anything to do with like something they would produce, they're wrong. Okay, like this is never going into production.
Never.
They're not going to start building turbo H6s. Don't get hyped up, guys. I love you, that ain't coming. Okay.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
getting a Turbo
Would be
H6
cool.
BRZ. It would be neat, but
Yep.
that's not what it's not even remotely in the cards. That'd be $100,000 BRZ on the low
Oh
end.
yeah.
Right. So speaking of things that came out of Tokyo Auto Salon that are potentially production based, the Super Taikyu car.
Yes.
Tell us about that, Dewey.
That's the exciting one. So everybody was all like, oh, we didn't get a new STI. It's just this bullshit. Oh, this BRZ over here is really cool. All right, well, let's go see what else is here. And the amount of people who walked past this Super Taikyu car they totally missed it. The real news was that car. Okay. Now that was under a cover for a long time. JJ was actually at Tokyo Auto Salon and thought it was the Concept B. And most people thought they were just like, they're going to have this here also because people seem to be hyped up about it. When they unveiled it, they're just like, it's, this looks like a Crosstrek with a weird body kit on it. And then they pop the hood. And then if you start looking at it closer, what that is a functioning Concept B with a lot of very OEM looking parts under the hood, including
That's right.
a red cast manifold. That is not something that you just like one off. Okay. You don't one off cast
That's
manifolds.
right.
Now, we live in a time and a place where I swear to God, we live in the future to where you can print metal, but this thing is huge. Okay.
Mhm.
Maybe it is some sort of fancy 3D printing. It isn't like I got to walk up and knock on it, but everybody was saying it looked cast. And the rumors are, in the way that Subaru is talking, this is the test mule of the Concept B that they're going to race. And they're running in a
Yep.
class that is specifically for prototype cars. So,
Ooh, yeah. It's in a prototype class, so that can only mean one thing.
that is a
Prototypes
prototype.
become production at some point.
Yes.
Right.
And they actually care enough about it to want to test it because that means it's backed. This car
Yep.
looks super OEM. Again, FA24. I haven't got specs on turbos or anything else because they were a little cagey on letting people near it. What you could see is cast manifold, okay, and what looked to be an aftermarket intercooler, but maybe it's what they're going to use for a production intercooler with metal end tanks instead of plastic end tanks.
Right.
This engine looked prepped for significantly more power than you get out of a standard WRX. Let's look at it that way. Now, if those of you who don't know anything about Super Taikyu, that's endurance racing. Okay. That is not like, that's not, hour and a half sprint racing. These are longer races. I'm not exactly sure how long they are. What is our typical Super Taikyu? Super Taikyu race length.
He's checking on his phone. He's asking Google.
Yep,
He's
I'm
maybe
Googling.
using
Don't
ChatGPT.
mind me. I'm that guy. These are usually 4-hour races, or they tend to do double headers, which are 2 3-hour races. And then they have one of them that's 24. So these are longer races. These are more closely associated with a lot of like maybe what IMSA does and stuff like that. It's multiple driver endurance racing. Okay. Which is, let's be real, that's exactly how we want Subaru to test this. We want them to not just beat the shit out of this, we want them to beat the shit out of this for long periods of time.
Yep. Absolutely. The WRX announcement that they called an STI, they do call some of the WRX trim levels in Japan, that do call them STIs.
Mhm.
Subaru in Japan uses the STI badge for a lot more things. So that's not unusual. It's just the Western media chose to really get hyped over nothing. The Western media basically got us to clickbait, click on these articles and then make more articles afterwards saying, oh, by the way, this is a letdown. It was completely manufactured on the Western side of the media, and it was nonsense.
I agree. And it was, they ran around also screaming that this was a giant nothing burger. And then none of the people who are screaming, this is the new STI, this is the new STI, oh, wait, this isn't the new STI, Literally, the new STI was sitting right next to it, and none of them covered
Yes.
it. Finding
Nope.
information on this car, you had to actually do a little bit of a deep dive. That's
Yep.
actually the new STI.
Right. I will say though, it is cool that Subaru reintroduced the manual transmission to Japan. That
Mhm.
had been gone for at least 5 years. So kind of a big deal,
It's a big deal
but
for a
just
lot of
not what we
things.
wanted.
It's
Yeah.
not what we wanted, but first off, Japan has already admitted that like we're their largest market by a lion's share. Okay,
Yes.
and it's quickly becoming what we want. They're they're starting to finally go, okay, the American market needs to steer the ship a little bit. But
Well, we're
well,
we're going to talk about
we're gonna
this.
get there. Okay, but
Okay.
the the corporation is in Japan. Okay, that is what these people are
Yes.
seeing day to day. And if they're seeing people who want they're more performance minded, okay, and they're looking for a manual transmission. The more of those that are out there, the bigger and better chance we have of getting more of that type of vehicle.
Yeah.
And so we should, instead of pooping on this, if you understand what's going on, we should be excited that they are getting this and Subaru sees a demand for this type of vehicle there, because this means they're moving in the direction that we all wish they would here.
Right. Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm feeling a little bit better now that Tokyo Auto Salon is done and this surprise announcement came out. That Super Taikyu car really kind of put it two goals on the good side versus one goal on the bad side.
Mhm.
So cautiously optimistic. I want to come back to what how I feel about like Japan versus America because I spent some time at lunch today and wrote down a whole list of dates and when things happened. I've
Yes.
got a conspiracy brewing in my head, but I haven't been able to really come to firm conclusions yet. I
This
might
is
need
the
to do more of that.
real conversation that we want to have today. And then we can get into
Yeah.
predictions and everything else. But this
Okay.
is the bread and butter of because I you and I talked about this a little bit, and the the timeline of this all is starting to make a little more sense.
Yes.
So I think I'm probably going to insert some opinion into some of this, but
Okay.
I think you need to explain to our listeners exactly the research that you just put together here.
Okay. So I looked at old press releases from Subaru of America. Okay. Because a lot has happened in the last couple of months of 2025. And Subaru in Japan, they had some good announcements, followed by some really dud announcements, followed by surprise good news that was not covered at all, like the Super Taikyu car.
Hmm.
So it's all feels incoherent. So what I did was I went and looked back at old press releases to try to understand what's going on behind the scenes. My analysis is not complete and there's probably more to it. So, for starters, the longtime CEO of Subaru of America was a guy by the name of Thomas Dole. He worked at Subaru of America for nearly 42 years. That is a tremendously long time. Japan likes when the leaders at the top stay there for long periods of time. If you join a company, you better be there for life. And he was that guy. So, going in order, when was the S209 released? That was the special edition WRX STI S series that had never been offered in America before. That was announced in mid 2019. It was model year 2019, but because it was so special, I think it was delayed into calendar year 2019. In America, typically model year 19 comes out in the back half of the prior year. Pricing was announced in October 2019. So keep that in your head. This mega super special awesome one-off car for America, first time ever, came out in late 2019. It was what, Dewey, like $64,000 HKS turbo kit. That
It
was
was a
the closest
$70,000
thing.
STI, is what it was.
Yes, that that was a tuner car sold with a warranty. That is one of the coolest cars I've ever seen sold in America. But granted, I'm a Subaru fanboy.
Sure.
When that car was released, it was not Subaru branded. It was STI branded, the
Hmm.
same way Toyota has a sub brand for Lexus. Creating that sub brand is extremely expensive. You have to go through a bunch of like regulatory items and then crash testing, and it's extremely expensive. Okay. So not only did Subaru sell a call it $70,000 car in America, only 209 of them, but then they had to spend ungodly amounts of money for who knows what
It was a lot
reason.
of money.
Basically, just, yeah. So on that particular small car or, limited edition car, Subaru lost a ton of money on it. Okay. And it's crazy to me, but they had to have done it for a reason. So now that STI sub brand exists, but another car has never been offered. So all that money got wasted. Potentially, Tom Dole can get blamed for it. Maybe it was his idea. Maybe he had enough pull from being at Subaru for like over 35 years at that point to say, hey guys, talking to the upper management at Subaru of Japan, saying, hey, I want something really special because I'm going to retire in a few years. Potentially, Tom was also responsible for keeping the regular STI in America for a few extra years because the WRX STI, the real one, was discontinued in Japan in 2019. That was the end of the EJ20 in Japan. The last version that they got was the WRX STI Final Edition, and that was limited to 555 units. That's an auspicious number from 555, the old sponsor of the rally cars. Meanwhile, the WRX STI was discontinued in America after the 2021 model year. So that's a full, call it 2 years after it was gone in Japan. That's kind of a big deal. We had the STI for longer, and the very last real, honest S series, S209, was sold in only America. I can't help but wonder how that got pulled off politically. This is where it kind of comes into conspiracy territory. I can't really figure out how I'm feeling about it, but I'm only halfway through my story and my analysis. So America got the STI for a few years longer than Japan. They got the special edition model, basically the last one. And Japan, I don't think ever got one. They had the S208 and all the prior ones, but S209, I think, was America only.
I don't think it was.
So then, okay, okay,
I'm going to look that up while you keep talking.
okay. So all this I've just talked about happened in 2019, and then the STI was discontinued in America after the 2021 model year. That came to the final announcement, which was March 11th, 2022. Statement on the WRX STI, where Subaru of America said an internal combustion engine WRX STI will not be produced based on the new WRX platform, which is the VB. Tom Dole retired a year later, April 1st, 2023. His announcement was basically almost a year, almost to the day after that STI announcement was. It's probably just a coincidence, but he had to have had a huge role in getting the S209 to America,
Yep.
and then potentially also keeping the STI in America for a couple of extra years. Okay, so the next CEO, he took over in March 2023, was Tadashi Yoshida. I don't really know much about him other than he had been at Subaru of Japan for a long time and then had been with Subaru of America for 2 years prior to that and was then rotated into the new CEO role. That's the first time, I think, in history that a Japanese gentleman was the CEO of Subaru of America. Um, Meanwhile, he only lasted 2 years and then got promoted back to the mothership. So that's a bit strange to me. That seems like it's internal politics that we'll never get to understand,
Yeah,
but
I'm
those
sure
things
there
do
was something to
happen.
do with that. Yep.
Yes. Next thing on my list is the WRX STI S210 was announced in January of 2025, except it's not really an STI.
No.
It was CVT only, and it did not have a limited slip center differential. It had a viscous coupling, just like a WRX. In our eyes in America, that was just a WRX. I wonder if Japan felt the same way. Okay.
Mhm.
So there's some loose ends here. Next, May 19th, 2025, a new CEO takes over, Yoichi Hori. He is also Japanese, and he's the current CEO now because this happened about a year ago. Um, this guy, he showed up in a video from Launch Control recently. He
Yes.
clearly likes racing. He's like the Subaru equivalent of that Toyota CEO that like
He
demanded that
ain't
the GR
quite
brand be
that
created.
hardcore. He's not quite Akio Toyota, but he is.
Okay.
He definitely has an appreciation for it. Akio Toyota is like we're going racing at all costs. I don't care if I've got to chop the Camry. Like, he does not care.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This man is like, we're here to race. Everything else is secondary.
Right. So I don't know much about him, but he is another Japanese guy. So now it's 2 years, or I'm sorry, two CEOs in a row. These are Japanese CEOs of Subaru of America. I don't know what to make of it other than I've had a long time feeling that Subaru of America makes no decisions whatsoever, that it is a Japanese company and the Americans just listen. Okay. Meanwhile, the previous CEO, Tadashi Yoshida, was promoted to Senior Managing Executive Officer of Subaru Corporation, leading a newly established team, global sales and marketing strategy. A whole office was created for that. So
Interesting.
that also, that also lines up with what showed up in a comment, or not in a comment, it's just a quick comment clip in that last launch control video. If you haven't seen it, you should go watch it. Saying that there's going to be more brand crossovers with Japan when it comes to like these cool one-off
Yes.
Hoonigan type builds or potentially other marketing. That was a shock to say the least, but it's beginning to make a little more sense. Why? Because now the CEO of CEOs, the last two of Subaru of America, are Japanese guys, which means they're able to speak the political Japanese corporate culture better than some white guy who came up through the
I'm not
farm
trying to be
system.
racist either, but Japan has notoriously been standoffish with anybody who is not Japanese.
Yes, it has been this way for the entire multi-thousand year history of Japan.
This
They're
is just how
extremely
Japan
insular.
operates.
They can, by it, the Western opinion or the Western viewpoint is Japan is kind of racist and kind of insular. So not necessarily a knock. They've always been this way. Okay. So I think that better things are happening simply because a Japanese guy's at the top and he can speak, like Japanese corporate culture better. So they're getting more done. It's easier to have a business partner on the other side that thinks the way you do, right? You're going to get more done.
There's probably some truth to that. Okay. First off, I do want to reiterate, you're correct. The US is the only market, the North American market was the only market that got the S209.
Yes, that is a huge coup.
That's
and I like to
insane!
think this is where the conspiracy comes in, and I cannot prove it, but I like to think that Tom Dole had like probably 38 years of experience with Subaru of America, and that has a lot of weight
And
in
he threw
Japanese
his weight
culture.
behind it.
And he threw his weight behind it. And Japan went, we have to do this because you have 38 years of experience, and that is a huge value.
Yep.
And they did it, and they lost their ass creating the STI sub brand and creating the S209. Okay. And they had some warranty issues, and just because it was an EJ, just like all the others.
Can I throw some opinion in on this too?
Go for it.
All right. I have a feeling that Tom saw what the future was looking like. He was excited about performance. He saw that STIs and WRXs were still moving off the lots. He saw things like Air Slayer and stuff like that doing well. He probably went to a couple of events. He saw the community was a major part of what they did. Honestly, I don't think Subaru of Japan understands the cultural shift in the view of their vehicles within the automotive sphere here in the United States, how much it shifted after the O2 WRX happened. And where this was a brand, it was like Volvo to most people. It just did not exist until that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I think Tom saw that. Okay. So Tom goes, we're going all in. All right. And to do this right, and he was probably trying to set something up for the future with the STI brand and everything else. He saw what could be, right? And they went all in. And then I think he got crushed by COVID, and he got crushed by changing emission standards. And he also got crushed by this onslaught of electrification being everything during that time. Everybody was throwing in on electric. And here's this guy here in the States screaming, guys, the future ain't that. we need to make fun cars. This is what this brand actually is stood up on. I know we're selling
Right.
Crosstreks and Outbacks right now, but the only reason we're selling those is because the kids told their parents to buy these things, and now they love them
Exactly.
too.
Yes. So that statement saying the WRX STI is going to be canceled in America was March 2022. That was peak of the electric vehicle hype. That
Yep.
was when the rumors were that the next STI was going to be electric only. And for a while, it did look like the world was going to go that way. And I mean, Hyundai threw down hard in
Well,
battery EVs.
hold on. Hold on. A lot happened during that time period too. They were still teasing and even testing a ice powered STI. Okay.
Right.
These like Nürburgring test mules, and people have seen shit, and like we're all like, it's still coming. You know what I mean?
hmm
And so they were saying like not the next, but like the next generation. Like what we
Right.
have here, they were alluding to, you're still gonna get one more generation of a gas powered STI.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
still
So
believe
again,
they developed it. And also, one more thing during this time period, okay, is Toyota started flexing their influence a lot. Okay.
yep.
And they wanted to bring over what essentially would have been an STI competitor with the GR Corolla. And I
Right.
call it conspiracy or whatever you want. There is no way that Toyota didn't go, look, you guys are selling plenty of Outbacks and everything else. I need you guys to not for a few years.
Yes. The Zaibatsu style of Japanese corporate culture is you have this like collection of companies that aren't really owned by the same, they're basically competitors, but they all function as a cartel,
Yep.
or they all have the same opinion. They do this by consensus,
Yes.
right? I am not qualified to talk about that, but it's not something you would ever see in America.
No.
Okay. And I mentioned this on a previous podcast, but I work in the insurance industry, but I was reading about how the Japanese government forced some insurance companies to divest from their investments in competitor insurance companies because they did not want to have those like paper connections anymore.
Yeah.
These are competitors and they're just investing in each other because they want to invest in other Japanese businesses. So, it's very different from how it works in America where you just merge or you just buy a company, right? This is kind of like
Yeah,
helping your
it's
neighbor
other companies
because
are just, yeah, instead of you guys becoming one company, you go, we're just
right.
going to push in the same direction.
Exactly. You're going to
Yes.
help your neighbor because you all live on an island together.
Yes.
America is not an island. So
No.
it's a very different viewpoint. So, all right, current CEO takes
Now-
over May 2025. Okay, go on, Dewey.
So again, going back into this, so Tom, all right, he pushes through this STI branding for one vehicle, and they sell 209 of them. Okay. So
Right.
it's an extraordinarily rare one-off vehicle. COVID happens. Toyota says you guys shouldn't be selling STIs, yada, yada, yada. A whole lot of shit goes down all at the same time. I believe Tom jumped on, I believe there needed to be a sacrifice, and Tom was that, because there was probably a lot of numbers that didn't look great, and somebody needed to die.
Somebody's the hero of my story, and I don't know what it is. Right. And I have not, I don't
Personally,
have
I
any
think
firm
it's
conclusions.
Tom, but I think bean counters killed Tom.
Yeah, well, GM's known to do that, so it could totally happen in Subaru. Yeah.
Yep.
So, all right, here's where it gets a little interesting. So, all right, new CEO takes over May 2025.
Tom
Yoichi
Dole.
Horii.
I'm gonna throw this out here. If anybody from Subaru corporate is boys with Tom, and he wants to come on the IAG Thursday Thing podcast and shoot the shit,
Oh gosh,
I would love to have you on. I would
think
just
he's-
love to know what does Subaru, even up until where you left, okay, or removed, or however this went down. I want to know the corporate mindset of Subaru through some of these changes. And he'd been around so long that I bet you would be enthralling for a podcast. I would love to have you
Yeah.
on. I'm just throwing that out there if anybody
Yeah.
knows. Throw
I
Tom
think
up.
he's still like executive chairman or something. He's out of day to day, but he's still somehow connected because
Tom,
like
hit us
he's
up,
the
bro.
guy, right?
Let's go,
Y-
dude.
You know, I like to first of all businesses are not democracies. They are
No.
run from the top, right?
Yes.
So this is like there are strong men or women that they drive the ship in a direction. So, all right, small piece
Serpent
that I
Wolf.
looked into.
I'm all in. We need paintings of Tom as Saint Tom. We have little
Somebody's the hero of my
chains of
story.
Saint
I just don't
Tom.
know yet.
It's Saint Tom.
So, Yoichi Hori takes over as CEO or is announced May 2025. All
Okay.
right. Previous CEO, he's promoted to run the newly established Global Sales and Marketing Strategy Office. Okay. Next thing that happens, August 2025, Subaru of America National Business Conference. This is their national conference where they get all their dealers together and then just hype them up with a bunch of, nonsense
Yeah,
about what's coming
nonsense.
down the pipe. And, it's, I've been to enough of this stuff, Dewey, that it's not any different than what you and I have seen at PRI or whatever.
Yes.
Like, it's all just people being people.
It's just corporate
So
bullshit talk.
it's just corporate bullshit. Okay. John Cooley at Flatirons
Yep.
in one of his recent videos mentioned a rumor that the American dealers were only shown the EV concept STI
Mhm.
at this national business conference, August 2025. I guess that timing lines up because the Japan Mobility Show announcements were still a few months later. So that makes me think that Japan makes all the decisions and tells SOA nothing. Japan Mobility Show rolls around in late October 2025, and they show off two concept cars: the EV, which gets panned, and the gas car, which is widely praised, and people lose their minds because it's real. So that makes me wonder. Next up, of course, is Tokyo Auto Salon, which was kind of a mixed bag, man. And we were talking about this on the side, where Subaru almost messed this up. December 2025, the manual transmission returns to Japan after a 7-year absence. But I guess the Western media did this rather than Japan. But like they
Yes.
hyped up a WRX as
I
an
don't.
STI when it's not.
Hold on. Not that the Western media didn't do this, but I will 100% say that I believe Subaru Japan or maybe Subaru Corporate, I believe their marketing, that it's like they have no concept to what's going on in the the larger world, and it was the most tone deaf thing they could do by announcing that the way they did. That was They
Yeah.
did themselves zero favors. They teed that up after the whole world went nuts for this STI concept B to then turn around and show that. And I don't know how they didn't think that the slightly less informed were going to see this as anything but, oh my God, they're going to announce the new STI.
Right. So Subaru's Japan websites did mention that it was, quote, a return to the classic WRX formula. How classic, how old? After all, early STIs did not have DCCD. So I've covered a lot and it's been kind of all over the place, but it's just come from, Googling for when did things happen? What dates were they?
Yeah.
And looking at old press releases and just putting them in chronological order. So my analysis is not complete, but here's my conclusion. In 2025, we saw an incoherent marketing strategy from Subaru. Many exciting announcements, such as the STI Performance B in late October, plus bad timing of disappointing announcements like this high trim level WRX at Tokyo Auto Salon in December 2025, followed by the non announcement of the Super Taikyu car being that STI, the real one that you just said, and a bonus on top, which was the GT300 BRZ with the twin turbo H6, which is really cool. But like, you got to lean into that, man. So, meanwhile, EV hype has cooled. Multiple manufacturers have reintroduced manual transmissions. Nissan 400Z, that was announced as a manual in Tokyo Auto Salon as well. Plus, Porsche, I'm being a little bit loose with timing right now, but Porsche owners and buyers demanded they bring back the manual, and I feel like Subaru is learning the same lesson. It
I think
only
a
took them
lot
5
of
years.
companies are learning the same lesson. I mean, look at Toyota a couple years ago, brought back a manual Supra. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, from a numbers standpoint, manuals don't make sense. but that's not why you buy like a sports car. I think people are also companies are starting to realize there needs to be some emotion behind whatever car you're purchasing. Sports cars are bought on
Yes.
emotion. Numbers don't move things the way they used to.
Yeah, it's not all about Nürburgring times anymore.
No.
So, yeah. I think Japanese manufacturers are being conservative right now. I think they bet hard on EVs or maybe hybrids being the solution to every problem, and it's not. So,
Well, there's also
meanwhile,
a changing political climate too. Okay, over here.
that's true.
Now let's throw this in there. At the beginning of last year, in what was recently passed in said large bill thing, um,
Yeah.
the penalty for not following the cafe standards, they still exist, but the
Yeah.
penalty has been dropped to literally $0. So there is
Yes.
no penalty for not meeting those standards anymore. Therefore, they're kind of off the table.
Yeah. So let me expand on this. So in
Sure.
America, we have what's called corporate average fuel economy (CAFE). For over time, the average fuel economy of an entire fleet of vehicles sold by Subaru or Honda or anybody needs to go up a little bit every year.
Yes.
And when I guess Obama was in office and potentially Biden as well, some of those standards were unrealistic and
Yes.
manufacturers were pretty upset about it. So, like Dewey alluded to, uh, Trump's tax bill, the big beautiful bill, got passed in the middle of 2025, and a little side item in there was putting the fines for cafe non-compliance down to $0. So there's nothing to stop anybody, any manufacturer, from selling whatever the heck they want, at low fuel economy.
I mean, if so,
But
one of the things they were doing, just so we're all aware, that companies were sticking like lifeless shit cars into their lineups that just got decent gas mileage to up their standards. Like
yes,
I have a hard time believing the Solterra is not that. You know what I mean? Um,
right.
it is
Yeah, I'm
a
sure it is.
paper thing that because you
Yes.
can tell there was zero effort put into that vehicle. Okay, but it gets good
Yeah.
gas mileage.
There is a long history of this in the automotive industry. So this
Mhm.
is not a new thing and this is not a Subaru thing.
Yes.
Now, just because Cafe no longer has fines, I don't think it's the magic bullet that we're all looking for because other countries still have fuel economy standards,
No,
and Subaru is not going to
hold
sell a
on.
separate
I
car
just
just
think
for
they're done
America.
differently. Okay, so the cat again,
Sure.
we're the largest market. Okay, but
Yes.
if they weren't going to meet cafe standards, fleet wide they were going to get nailed with fines. Now
Yes. Yes.
they aren't getting nailed with anything. Now that doesn't mean the market for a car that gets good gas mileage has gone away. It hasn't. It's just
Yes.
if Subaru, like, there's people are still going to want a car that gets 40 miles to the gallon. Okay. And it is still a selling
Yeah.
point. But it also
You know
means
what?
that you can have a couple of different models of a Chevy pickup truck and you can call them different things. And it doesn't, for every single one of them, it doesn't bring down your fleet standards, and you're not getting
Yeah.
the crap
Yeah.
beaten out of you by it. People are still going to demand efficient vehicles. And
Yes.
even me sitting here being highly performance oriented, I hope this new STI when it hits, I'd still like to see it make about 350. Okay. But I would also,
Yep.
with it being direct injection, I'd like to see it get at least mid 20s highway.
Yeah.
I
I
would.
agree. And if the government doesn't enforce this, then the market will, because Toyota will sell something that could be more fuel efficient, like the GR Corolla, and that's how people will compare it.
Oh,
And yes,
Anybody who thinks I'm way too far to the left, hear me when I say this, okay? The market will figure it out. Okay? The
so
market will figure
here's
it
another
out.
thing. Okay, Dewey, what do you think about this? I'm going to add to my conspiracy.
Sure.
Subaru of America National Business Conference takes place in August 2025. The big, beautiful bill with the provision to reduce cafe penalties for noncompliance down to zero happens a month prior to that, maybe 2 months prior. I think it was like June or July. Okay.
Yeah.
So John Cooley said, all right, American dealers were shown only the EV concept car for the STI.
Yep.
I wonder if Japan just didn't have time to build a gas STI concept car until late October for the Japan Mobility Show. And they just busted their ass to do it because now there's no penalty for it.
Why do you think the thing is based on already production stuff? Not only that, I don't think anything that we're seeing is new outside of they used a cross-track body and some flares that they were probably already playing with the Super Taku car, okay? They're like, yo, maybe we can make this look a little production. It isn't much for them to do external stuff. Driveline-wise, I think this car's actually been sorted out since 21, 20. Like, this is a mothballed thing that already existed that they went, I mean, Subarus are like Legos. Plop, let's stick it in there and make it work. No, they're not getting handcuffed by cafe standards, and I also believe they're not getting the same pressure from the Toyota side anymore.
Yeah, I think both of those things could very well be true. But here's a side note. Meanwhile, last week, Chevrolet's Corvette C8 ZR1X just ran the quickest quarter mile by a production car at 8.675
That's so
seconds.
stupid.
That is an insane time. That is just not real life.
No.
Okay. But what's important here is that's a V8, baby, and it's twin turbo, and it's a hybrid. So I would like to see the next STI be a hybrid and not $100,000.
Maybe that happens, and that technology is all going to come down. But I got to be real. It's got to start somewhere, and we need to see. I think an FA24 powered thing that they've already put development into. This literally at this point is basically a parts bin build for them. It would be very easy to do. Okay, and they don't have to do much. Give us the old STI with an FA24 with about 350, and it's gonna work. Okay, and a little more modern chassis. It's gonna work, and they can do it for next to nothing.
In 2025, we talked about this, but I have missed episodes. Life has been busy.
Yeah.
2025 was the worst sales year for the WRX in history. They sold 10,900. So call it 11K.
It's complete ass.
Yeah, awful. Like when I bought my STI in 2015, they sold 30,000 cars.
I bet you our boy Tom is losing his fucking mind with this right now, and he's going, "I told you, motherfuckers."
probably from some farm in Vermont or wherever.
Yeah,
he's
it's just
enjoying his well-earned retirement, right? Yep. So. Yeah, the estimate for the 2015 model year was 10,000 STIs and about 20,000 WRXs. I don't have a source for that, but
sure.
That is a far cry from where they're at now.
Yep.
So I hope it changes. I got another thing for you, Dewey. I'm going to add a little more color to my conspiracy.
Let's add
every year, you and I go to PRI and we stop by the WPC booth, which is a Japanese company that does micro shot peening.
I absolutely love those guys. Yep.
Yeah. And every year, it's just two Japanese guys that as the years go on, they speak better English. But every year, you say the same thing, which is they need an American sales guy. They would double the size of their company just by yelling at people in, American, oh boy, saying, you need to buy this. This is the best thing ever, because it probably is.
Every year, I bring one or two people over to their booth and show off their product just because I think it's amazing. And every year I grab some rando and I show them this and explain it to them. They're like, and it have to explain it's not a coating, it's a treatment. Okay. So it won't wear off. And they're like, holy crap, this is amazing. And I'm there for 5 minutes every year. Okay.
Yep.
I just love what they do over there. I think I think what they're doing is awesome. Okay. But they're very Japanese. And I think it kills them because I believe they could be frickin' quadrillionaires and they wouldn't even know what to do with the amount of money blowing out of their ears if they had 2 or 3 of me working for them.
Yes. Similarly, the Honda Prelude, way too Japanese. That car is not going to sell.
No.
It's going to be very cool, but
I think the Prelude was something that was that was cooked up in 22 and like we're seeing it now. And the market is not there with that. I just
Yep.
I think their market's changing significantly too. I'm not in Japan, okay? I don't know what, but
Right.
I am of the belief that, and what they seem to be pushing towards is their market is also moving around quite a bit. I don't
Yep.
think we may be in the beginning of a whole new renaissance of performance, and we might get a whole nother swing, a whole nother decade of hardcore ice performance cars again.
Mm. I think the market exists for a fast hybrid sports car, but not a slow one. So too Japanese. But I bring all that up because I wonder, Dewey, if Subaru is suffering from the opposite problem. That Subaru of America was not Japanese enough, and that somehow slowed them down or caused them to just not communicate the
I
problems that they were
believe
seeing.
I believe there was a communication or a lost in translation issue. I absolutely
Mhm.
believe there was a lost in translation issue. And I also believe they probably just looked at whatever we were doing over here and they're like, those motherfuckers are printing money. We don't have to put any effort into it. And then
Yeah.
when it stopped printing money with, like, say, the
Yeah.
WRX, when it stopped printing money, they went, what the hell's going on over here? And they finally looked
Yep.
over and saw all of us sitting on these podcasts screaming, what the fuck are you feeding us?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I think that's possible too.
Japan's new
Because
prime minister drives a Supra. Not just any
really?
Supra. That is
An old
that's a
one?
Mark III Supra. That is an 80s Supra. Is it manual? Please God be manual. I can't tell. I bet you it's a manual because most of them were in that time period.
I think she's had it since it was new too. Oh, I forgot about this.
Oh my God.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes. And so, like,
Oh my gosh.
I think we're about to see a renaissance in a lot of things. And I think people are starting to understand the passion and the soul. We're all starting to sound fucking Italian. Oh, it's auto. But either
So,
way, she still has it, which is super cool.
okay. Seraphin Wolf in the chat says, I wouldn't mind a hybrid if it feels like an STI and the E motor is integrated into the trans.
I think all of
Yeah, I
us
mean,
are okay with, like, a really effective use of
yes,
a hybrid with spirit. You know what I mean? I
yes,
would be all for that, and I don't want to take anything away. But what I'm going to keep screaming, they could put a just ice powered STI out tomorrow if they wanted to, and they need to. They need to, because they need to light that fire again and then use that momentum that everybody
yes,
is out here screaming about to then the next DCCD or some big innovation needs to be them doing something maybe with hybrid, some sort of hybrid power to, instantly spin a turbo, or make
yes,
the area where the turbo isn't on be, a bunch punchier or whatever. And maybe it does
yes.
have the ability to run full electric for a short period of time just because it's cool, whatever.
Right, right. More power, more, just more
More, yeah,
performance,
like
more
if
everything.
if
Right.
make enthusiasts like me would be excited, complete nerds like you would be excited, but
Yeah.
you got to keep it. If you go fully electric with it, you are going to lose the enthusiast. The
Yes.
majority of the enthusiasts are going to go, it isn't making the right sounds, it's not moving me. But I
Yep.
wholeheartedly believe a hybrid could do it.
I think there was a communication breakdown because America demands more. Japan demands better. And I bet they heard more as, oh, you want more performance? We'll just give you a battery car with 700 horsepower or whatever. And America goes, no,
I
this is
would say
terrible.
that America does demand more, and I think that's why our WRX is what our WRX is, because it's slightly more than last WRX. It's a little bigger. It's
Right.
got a bigger engine. It makes more torque. Makes a little more horsepower. Here's your more. And we're all like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think that maybe they've gained some respect for the American enthusiast also, because the
Mm,
American Subaru enthusiast is not the American muscle car enthusiast. We are not the same thing. Now, you could have said
Mm.
that back in 2002. You had to convince muscle car enthusiasts to think the WRX was something they wanted in on. Okay? That's not the case anymore. We are a drastically changed market now.
Yeah, I agree. And it's very large, like resto mods and everything. Very
Oh,
large.
I agree.
So,
I agree. Now, we need to make predictions. Okay?
yes, let's do it.
All right. 2026 prediction number 1, Subaru is actually going to announce the Concept B as an actual production vehicle. And I have a feeling we're going to actually see production ones faster than you think. I believe it's going to be a 28 model year and we will see them in 27, but we're going to see production looking ones running Nürburgring and doing shit. And they are going to hype the shit out of it before the end of this year.
Okay. I think it will be announced in early 27, but otherwise, I agree with you. Think the VB generation is just a little too young.
I think I think they have already, with the sales being as bad as they are for the VB, I think they see this as an emergency and they're
Okay.
jumping ship on it.
Okay. My prediction, I think race car or Hoonigan type collaborations with Japan will happen in 26, but no real changes to the performance cars sold by Subaru. I'm with you. I think they're living on borrowed time. Marketing makes your existing products look good, but there's a limit. If your product isn't great, people will eventually get bored.
All right, I got one more for you because I actually
Go for
thought
it.
through these. I think you're going to see an absolute insane increase in GD chassis STIs, which will take all GD chassis with it. Just the other day, Bring a Trailer, it was like a 35,000 mile 04 STI, sold for almost 40
Mm.
grand.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
I think so if you have a GD STI right now and it is clean, okay, it's about to skyrocket in value.
Okay. I got a couple other easy ones. Subaru will continue to invest in battery EVs that are slow and not class leading for energy efficiency. So compliance cars, even though they don't really need to, because who
They
knows?
don't need to here. There's other markets. I believe they're gonna. I don't believe Subaru is going to put serious effort into their electric. I think they're going to make literal like standard cars to to eke through whatever they need to, because we called it cafe, but other markets and countries have their own things and they're going to need to
Right.
plunk them in certain places. So yeah,
Right.
I agree with that.
Another easy one. This is a gimme. The H6 will not return. That's just a bespoke engine for the BRZ race
H6
car.
is dead, folks. I'm sorry, it's
Yep.
dead. Now, I don't know. I think we're going to see some sort of interesting collaboration between, I think they're going to hire Hoonigan to do it, but I think we're going to see some collaboration between Hoonigan and Subaru of Japan. Which
Yeah.
plays into what you
I
were
agree with that.
saying. Um
Yep.
Also from that video, I think we might see a resurgence in US based rally. Okay. If you guys
Yes.
have not watched the new launch control, it's very interesting. I'll catch you up real quick. Subaru is not fielding an open class car next year. Why? Because they're really the only open class car. And it just doesn't make sense. They're the only full
Yep.
program there. Nobody can afford to do it. So they're going all in on their limited car. And I guess Travis is driving it again. And I think they got a couple other customer drivers that'll be in that. But there's manufacturers who are also like, hey, we could do that, and throwing in on it also. So
Mhm.
I think and people were way more excited about US Rally when it was a little more relatable. And the
Yes.
limited car, while it's pretty extreme, is very relatable. And I think if they would have made that move earlier, if Subaru would have made that move earlier, which somebody needs to go write Travis Pastrana a real check here because he was the one who pushed for this so hard. and
Mhm.
they made this exciting, okay, and US rallies started picking up more, I bet you they would have sold more WRXs, more VBs.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to correct a comment that I made like at least a year ago, which is like, what is Travis Pastrana doing for Subaru? Now I understand it. After
I
that video came out.
Travis Pastrana is doing God's work for Subaru, and none of us saw it. And
Yep.
I'll even sit here and admit the same thing. Okay, that
Yep.
I did not see that vision. I was wrong.
Yep.
And anybody who didn't see that vision and was like, it just doesn't. There was a lot of people out there who said he was running from Brandon Semenok or whatever. No, what he created might save rally in the US.
I think he was on the right path with Rally Cross, but that's really expensive. And I think it just kind of folded under the costs and, a couple of other smaller
He
things. But
probably
like,
learned a lot from his experience in trying to set up Rallycross here in the US.
yes,
And then when
yes,
it doesn't work because it's too expensive. And then these bespoke electric rally cars don't work because they're not cars anybody knows.
exactly. So it's not obvious that dropping down to a lower class is some kind of magic bullet, but like from that video, it seems like manufacturers are interested in racing and not just Subaru, so long as it's production based and cost constrained. That is huge good
I'm going to
news.
stand on my freaking high horse, okay? Group B rally was insane and we all love it. And we have these insane memories of these crazy cars doing crazy shit. And these cars killed a bunch of people and it was awful, okay? And then
Right.
they killed Group B and went to Group A. And they said this was going to be the end of rally. But
Yep.
I would venture to guess that the majority of the people here, when they think of a rally car, okay, that are going to be
Yep.
listening to this podcast, think of a Group A or Group WRC rule set, like
The
first
early
gen
ones, yeah.
Impreza, okay?
Yeah.
Like we are thinking of GC8 rally cars. If you just think rally car in your brain, the first thing that comes to your
Yes.
mind is that, okay?
300
And
horsepower, minimal aero. Yeah.
a very production based blue
Yeah.
car, yellow shit on the side with gold wheels, and
Yeah.
that was very production oriented, and that gave us all of what we do today. Okay, like we have crazy performance STIs and DCCD and all of this shit. All of it came from kind of stemming from that era. So like, are we going to see a resurgence in that? Maybe. Let's say limited class really takes off, okay? More production-based rally in the US just explodes, which I think it's on the verge of doing. We may see we may see special models for this, you know what I mean? Like that
Yep.
that are like, we want to integrate a beefier differential because the rally team needs it, and then we get it through some weird, or it gets an OEM part number that we can go to the STI brand thing
Right.
in a Subaru dealer and order. Fucking Subaru, listen to me. And
Yeah.
and
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, it's coming, man. We're about to see this is about to look like the late 80s and early 90s again, real quick.
This reminds me. So, what is the coolest thing about Subaru? Okay, it was the fact that the STI was sold and it's a weird car. It's basically a rally car for the street. But in my opinion, what is the second coolest thing? That you could go buy Group N parts from a Subaru dealer, and like that's kind of gone now, right? You don't really hear about that at all.
Yeah,
It was
people don't
always
do
obscure.
that. It was never.
Mm.
It stopped being a thing. That was always kind of a
Yes,
neat, but you kind of had to know to know.
exactly.
Um,
But
I
I think
think
it's kind of gone.
Subaru
So more of that,
Subaru could,
please.
yeah, I would like to see Subaru make it very obvious that STI, you can go in and get like OEM part number cool shit, homologated cool stuff for your and order it straight with your STI. Like I think you should be able to just go
Mhm.
order your damn STI. I'm actually interested. I'm not going to say this is a prediction for 26, but because I've already kind of went through my predictions, but I think Subaru of America is going to do something with that STI brand this year.
Okay. I'll be a little more conservative with this, and I'll say, in general, having a Japanese CEO of Subaru of America is a good thing. No
Yes.
shade against Tom Dole. I think it's just I
No.
predict it'll be a good thing.
And Tom, we trust. Saint Tom, we love you, buddy. Okay. I am of the belief after this conversation we have that Tom did more for the US enthusiasts than probably any of us even realize. But
Yep.
the fact that we have a Japanese dude helming stuff over here and able to properly communicate with no loss in translation or nobody just saying this is just an American guy saying this, and that getting translated up the chain, I think is going to help us a lot because we are all screaming this. And for years, we all felt that Subaru was tone deaf. Okay. And
Mhm.
maybe a lot of what caused that was just they lost a complete miscommunication. It was just one hand not talking to the other. That's all it was. And maybe
Yeah.
we'll get back on track. Maybe new and great things will happen. And I would love to
Yep.
talk to somebody at Subaru Corporate if you ever want to hop on here and voice this up. But be ready. I'm going to ask you the hard questions. So
Man, they can't because it's a publicly traded company, and this is too. We're not politically correct. We're not corporate.
I don't agree with that. I don't. It would be the
Okay.
smartest thing. It is the smartest thing they could do right now. Okay, are you going to sit here and tell me they've signed contracts with Travis Pastrana and done all sorts of crazy stuff? And if you go on Travis Pastrana's YouTube channel, you're telling me that he's never cussed, broke laws, done anything on his YouTube channel.
Oh, it's not about that, but it's always party line. Always party line.
We are the most pro Subaru group you're going to find. That doesn't mean we are. You can love somebody and not like them. Okay.
Okay.
And I love Subaru, but that doesn't mean I like them right now. Though I like the direction they're going in. Okay.
Yeah. Well, man, I want to change maybe I'll change my
And
catchphrase.
Subaru is
from
not a publicly
Subaru of
traded
America
company, by the way. I think
don't
Fuji
think
Heavy
that's right,
Industries actually is. FHI, I'm
Yeah.
90% sure, is actually a public traded company.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So I think I'm going to change my catchphrase. I haven't decided, but I used to say Subaru of America is a marketing company. Maybe I'll just change it to Japan makes all the decisions.
It is. I think Japan does make all the decisions, and I think it's becoming more and more clear because now Japan's going, performance is cool. Now all of a sudden we're getting performance stuff when we've been screaming over here,
Right.
hey, you're just letting us drown.
Yeah.
We should be excited. So if you get any takeaway from this, it's the future is actually looking brighter than it has in a very long time. And stay tuned.
Yep.
Stay tuned. So
All right, that's all I got, Dewey.
yeah, I think that's about it. I think we covered it. I owe you $1 because last year I said Project Midnight was going to do something and it didn't. I owe you $1.
Was that the third year? Oh boy. Oh, I can't. Wasn't prepared for this. Project Midnight release date. No. Let's see.
We got to be real close
Subaru.
because I think we said it in the last year's prediction podcast.
So I thought it was 3 years. Oh no,
It was
I'm
3
sorry,
years.
separate dollar bill. It was a signed dollar if Project Midnight turned a lap in anger at a Grid Life event.
Yes.
And Project Midnight was officially unveiled July 9th, 2024, and then did Goodwood in July of that year. So, and then Velocity Invitational 24 October, but that doesn't count.
God,
So it's been 8.
I hope Subaru of America. I'm about to throw shade here. Velocity Invitational landed on nobody. Nobody at this point can tell you that it even happened. They don't know where it happened, what it even is. Okay.
Yep.
I understand that you guys probably got sold really hard on this and thought it was going to be awesome. It wasn't. You guys have to do a damn Grid Life event. They run one in your fucking backyard, and now they run one in New York that isn't very far away. You guys have to do this. It is a different animal than whatever that bullshit was on the other side of the country, ran by people who don't understand how this works. Okay? I cannot stress this enough. Please, 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 if you just want to talk off air, NDA, I won't tell anybody about it, and you want me to explain my part of this, I'm more than happy to. Please hit me up, Dewey at IAGperformance.com.
Yep.
Like it's they're not the same thing. And it's not because I'm going to lose $1. It's because I want to see you guys succeed. Because again, I love you, but I don't like you right now.
So if it was the original dollar bet that you and I had for 3 years, that car is only a year and a half old.
All right, we're still
got
good
some
on
time.
that. Then we just made a bunch of predictions last year, and that was one of them. So
Okay.
all
Well,
right,
man.
all right. Well, yeah. I guess on that note, thanks for coming on, guys. And it's been real. It's been fun. It's been real fun. Here's to a really exciting 2026. I think this could be massive for the entire community. And if you've got a GD chassis right now, you better hold on to that thing. Okay. You better wash it. You better love it. And you better start cleaning its carpets and whatever. Cause I'm going to tell you right now, the price of that shit's about to go through the roof because the car prices are going to go up. The used parts are going to go up, and there's going to be a run on all of it. It's coming. You heard it here first. Okay. Love you. Bye.